Hi everyone, welcome to my week 5 presentation, basically a summary of my paper titled Desert Anyone. So this week we'll look over some of the different concepts and theories and compare them to some of the core foundational theories and concepts from before. As you can see, it's they like using sort of a cake or dessert style, so I found this animation suitable there in getting started. So as the readings go, they sort of started with dual federalism. I found it interesting because they really didn't use the other sort of form of description until later. But to me, it seems like early on when they were establishing the Constitution and the amendments later on, I mean, back then they were sort of more concerned about just basic daily lives, right? They just got done fighting a big war, they've gained independence, and they're just trying to sort of um, make government sort of as small as possible, right? They wanted their freedom, they wanted everything to be the same, people wanted to, keep their money. I found that maybe calling it a piece of pie, pretty simple, going forward with that. But I also saw a picture of a banana split. I think that's sort of more fitting, right? Sort of dual federalism, right? States has their rights separate from the federal government, but you still have the three branches, right? Established the um, legislature, executive, and judicial, right? And I think a banana split there sort of best describes that. So in comparing to some of the foundational theories and concepts, our readings had the layer cake and the marble cake sort of description and how um, federal government and the states operated. To me, basically, it's sort of based off population growth, right? There was more resources needed, the expansion, industrial revolution, different things, right? Basically, population growth and government needed to be a little bit more complex, right, in order to encompass the needs of the country, right? Same thing with marble cake. Population growth needs got more complex. Then you add on, immigration, different cultural backgrounds, and different needs, right? And you have, states having different views on rights and what should be done, what shouldn't be done. So, as it progresses, I think it's more of a growth process, right? You know, we've gone through different theories in past few weeks, and it seems like everything is sort of built upon each other as time goes, right? Sort of you can call it incrementalism, right? Or sort of as Limbaum put it, science of muddling through. Now, in my opinion, I think it's more of a sort of a comparison in sort of just looking back at what was done, right? Not sort of a exact contrast, right? Because back then the needs were more simpler, times were simpler, and sort of basic freedoms, right, was what people were worried about. And as things got more complicated, the government needed to have a wider span, a wider coverage, whether it be providing basic needs or civil rights. And so for me, it's sort of comparing apples to oranges if we're gonna sort of you know compare which one is better, right? Now we have such a complex system with cooperative government, regulated government, whatever you want to call it, right? It's sort of different, and we almost sort of are going backwards, right, into those simple times where we don't want the government to sort of be in our business. But I think, in my opinion, it's sort of just building upon what we had from before, right? Whatever the environment is currently, government or folks in public administration should take note of that and adjust accordingly, right? Sometimes the needs of the country changes, right? We see that all the time. I mean, we've seen many changes, probably just within my own lifetime, right? I mean, if you go back further, there's even more changes, right? So I think it's more of an improvement or adjustment than thinking which way is better than the other. So here are some of the references that I took a simple screenshot of, basically from the videos and also from the readings that we did this week. Well, so in closing, families now, or needs of the population it's much different than back in colonial times when we had the 13 colonies, right? And so rather than saying which method is better, I think there really isn't a silver bullet for anything. It's sort of a mix, right? We take things from the past that we've learned and we improve upon it, right? And it doesn't take just one single method, right? We know that our lives, the country is much more complicated than that, where we have to take a multifaceted approach. And so, as time passes, I just hope and pray that, we tend to improve on things and remember that, family is important, and that's really what it comes down to when we're looking at government, is how, we're treated, right, as a unit. And so I'll leave that with everybody, and have a good weekend.